Just a quick introduction. As a TICC, we are trying to move to webinars as much as we can to involve our companies, network, friends, and be involved in the situation that, of course, hinders us from meet us for real. So we try to connect with all the network that we have of professionals to share their experience on several different fields. So today, as you know, we have Edoardo Bonavolta. He's a renowned chef working in Thailand for many years. In 2015, he started his venture as an entrepreneur with Barefood Bangkok. Probably some of you know already his product and know Edoardo, but now I would like to leave this virtual stage to him to share his experience and the amazing product that he produced for many years now. So thank you, everyone, and Edoardo, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Michele. Okay, again, thank you guys for inviting me, and I'm very happy to be here and join this webinar and share my experience with this kind of stuff. That yes, it definitely can be considered a kind of food innovation, because it's a fairly recent trend that is going on for probably 20, maybe 30 years, not really much longer than that. But okay, first of all, I want to say very quickly what makes me interested in this, because it's something that other people can relate to. So basically, I started to be interested in this kind of food a few years ago, just out of curiosity. But then what made me really understand the importance of a plant-based diet, either you are a full vegan or you just add some part, or you just go for a part of your diet for plant-based food. It's that it has a relevant effect on your health, or at least on my health. In 2014, I was starting to have some small health issues, nothing really serious, and I really started to improve once I started to follow a different diet, adding more vitamins and more food sourced from plant-based really helped me a lot. And this was I did this under suggestion from my sister, which is a nutritionist. So that really drew me into this kind of food, and I want to know more. And I realized that working as a chef, I knew a lot about how to mix flavors, but I didn't know much about what I was putting in the plate in terms of nutrition, what I was giving to people, to my customers. And then I started this journey that eventually brought me to the States to learn more about raw food, and it was a very nice experience also, because I met a lot of inspiring person that knows more about this, and also some other first-hand experience of people that improved their health with the plant-based diet, following the principle that if you can make your body more alkaline and less acidic, you have a whole a whole range of good effects on your health. So during this trip and during this class that I joined in the States, I learned the basic of how to make vegan cheese, and I tried some products on the market there, which are quite interesting. We visited also a place in Portland, Oregon, called Bitopian, which is one of the first that makes some gourmet vegan cheese. It was very, very interesting. So yeah, coming back, I decided to start to try to experiment something and try to mix the learning from the US to what I already knew from my experience being a chef, and we started to produce some vegan cheese. So there are very different ways to make vegan cheese. The one that we make now here at Barefood, it's fermented, and it's mostly made out of cashew nut. No, nowadays there are many different ones. Like you can use different kind of ingredient if you want to make it nut free, or if you want to have it fermented or non-fermented. Very different kind of way to do it. And so what else? Our experience here, it's basically something that it's been growing. It's been growing during the years, and it's been quite well received by our customers and friends. And there is a lot of growing interest, that's for sure. One thing that I would like to say is that, yeah, this is definitely plant-based food, but I wouldn't say that it's for vegans. I mean, at least not only for vegans, because eventually most of our customers are non-vegan people. Are non-vegan that they just realized that as it worked for me, it's working also for them. That we probably in the past few decades we switched our food too much towards meat-based or animal-based food. So now we are realizing that it's good for our health as well. So most of our customers, our neighbors, are not only vegan. Myself, I'm not a vegan. I like also classic cheese, and I think that something like the cashew nut cheese that we make, it's just another ingredient, another kind of food that you can use if you want to use it for cooking or for eating, or just something different that has definitely different nutritional properties compared to a regular cheese, and different flavor, and it's just a different product that you can play with. So I don't know. Maybe we can go a little bit into what, for example, the one that we make. What is the basic process that it's that takes to make a vegan cheese, and why it's called a cheese, because there is also a little bit of debate about calling this product a cheese or not calling it a cheese because it's not made of milk or something like that. So, for example, in our case, it's a very basic process. You need to get some cashew nuts. You can use also different kind of nuts, almond or macadamia or sunflower seed, pistachio. Normally, I use mostly cashew nut because I really like the way they act in the process of making the cheese. The texture, it's very nice, and the flavor also is the one that I like the most. But so you get some cashew nut, has to be good quality, whole raw cashew nut, and you have to soak them. You wash them well, because you never know, maybe there's some dust, some microorganism on it. So you wash them well, and you soak it in water. Soaking in water, it's required because it changes the texture of the cashew nut and makes it ready to be blended into a paste. Once you blend it to a paste, when you blend it to a paste, basically you add water, and you add salt, and you add some starter. In this case, I use probiotic starter. Probiotic, it's a mix of mostly lactobacillus ferment, and so you blend it, and then you have to culture it for a time that depends on temperature and humidity. Can be 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Depends really on the temperature and everything. So, but after culturing, basically what you have a product that it's a little bit different than the stage that it was before. So before you had a raw, dry cashew nut, and now you have a different product than that has a completely different taste, because the fermentation part adds and changes the flavor. And also nutrition wise is different, because now you had the probiotics. So probiotics are quite recognized to be good for our digestive tract health. So many diets, I mean, recommend to use probiotic either in pills, or better if you take it from a natural source like sauerkraut, or most fermented food that is non-pasteurized has probiotics. So yeah, nothing. But once you blend the cashew with the probiotic, and then you have to let it age for a little bit. Our cheese takes about 4 weeks from let's say from the blending day, from the day that I blending to the day that it's ready for consumption. It takes 4 weeks, and during these 4 weeks, basically, what happens is that the flavor of the fermentation just gets a little bit milder, gets nicer, it gets more round, and also the cheese become a little bit more thick and you are able to cut it and to use it as a cheese. So as I was saying, this is a very basic process. There are many others that call for other ingredients. Some people add some fats. Some people add some gelifying agent or solidifying agent. Can be agar, can be gelatin if you're not doing the vegan cheese. But I would say the most important thing that what we try to do is to keep the product whole. I mean, without adding anything that is not strictly necessary. That said, we also have other different kind of cheese, which are more commercial also, and also easier to prepare. For example, our cheese that we call the smoked jack, the one that we put in our vegan burger. It's a very similar process as before, soaking the cashew nuts, and then we don't add the probiotics, but we just add some ingredients that give a flavor of something that is fermented. Maybe you can add a little bit of acidity to give that feeling, some saltiness, some nutritional yeast, and anyway, so this smoked jack cheese, we use tapioca flour in this one. So when you use tapioca flour, you have to cook the cheese. You don't have a raw cheese anymore, but then it become a product that is ready in 2-3 days. So this is just another approach. And now I see also online on blogs that a lot of people that make vegan cheese, most of all at home, they use this kind of process because it's quicker. You don't have to wait for your cheese to be ready for 2 or 3 weeks, and still it's very good to be used for different recipes and stuff. There's still some time I have some not discussion, but talk with people that say, "Oh, why you call it cheese? Shouldn't you call it I don't know, pate or cashew nut cream or something like that?" The fact is that in our case, with the cheese that we make, it is a product that in the production method and also in the final product, it really reminds you about the cheese. When I open the refrigerator with the cheese that is just freshly fermented, it really smells like you are entering in a dairy, in a place that is processing some daily product. So it really reminds you that kind of product. And so I think there should be not much debate about that. It's more about the consumer that they have to be aware of what they buy, and probably to be clear with the product. Do you have any question, Giovanni, or Giacomo, or something that I...
No, I think it's very interesting what you are saying. I don't know if, of course, you can continue, but if there is any question, people can text us on the group. I will collect all the questions, or people can raise their hands by clicking on their name, click on more, and then there is the icon, raise your hand. For the Q&A, maybe we can do it.
Yeah, later.
You can continue.
Yeah. Okay. So, one thing that I would like to say is that, this is a product that, since the topic it's food innovation. One thing that is a big difference between regular cheese and this cashew nut cheese or nut cheese, it's the reason why it's made in the beginning. Because I mean, for regular cheese, it was a method that would allow people to keep milk for a long time without getting it spoiled. So the time that they have a good amount of milk, they would make some cheese so they could keep it and eat it later. Instead for the cashew nut cheese, it's a different story, because the cashew nut cheese starts from the cashew nut, the dry cashew nut, which is already a product that can last. So we are making the cheese not really out of a strict necessity to keep that kind of food from spoilage, but more for the reason of transforming it into something that has a completely different taste. And also from a nutrition point of view, we add something, because the probiotics actually had something to the normal nutrition compound of the cashew nut. And also one more thing. I mean, we have a new product that you can play with. That it's tasty, it's nice, it's flavor. I want to show you. Give me a sec.
Okay, that's good. And this is the funny part of having a live with him. It's directly inside his store, actually. Okay, that's good.
So this is our cheese. What is it? Can you see it? This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it's for now. I'm making these shapes with which look a little bit squarish. Let's see. Let's say, because I'm just it's convenient for us to make it this way, and I like it. But the things that is very interesting about this is that, as I was saying before, this is a kind of a recent product. Actually, for everybody that would like to get started with this kind of cheese production, I would recommend to get started with the Miyoko Schinner's book, and I will put it here now in the chat. That's the name of the lady that basically in the States, she's a Japanese lady that lives in the States since many years, and she's the pioneer basically of the vegan cheese making, or at least the one that makes it for first to a level of being commercial. And she's the one that started with this cashew nut cheese, with the vegan mozzarella, with all those cheddar kind of like of cheese, and but anyway, it's a very recent food trend. We're talking about 20, 30 years ago, not like hundreds of years like it would be for regular cheese. So basically, in this moment around the world, everybody that is making this kind of cheese, it is following the footsteps of Miyoko for sure, but everybody's developing its own technique. So for sure, wherever you go, you will find producers that make vegan cheese, everybody in their very distinctive way, because starting from the basics, everybody's developing their own peculiar way. And for example, that's now a big trend of making cheese that are similar to camembert or gorgonzola or blue cheese in general, with people using different kind of culture, like Penicillium candidum or Penicillium roqueforti, which are basically mold spore, the same one that I use for camembert, for brie cheese or for blue cheese. And with amazing result. We have one of our friends, Chef Wilfred, that made some amazing blue cheese and some amazing camembert-like cheese. It's a whole new world of products that are coming up, and more and more you can see this kind of stuff on the shelf in the supermarket. For now, here, or I mean in general in the supermarket, you have mostly very commercial products that are made with a low percentage of pure raw material, like cashew nut or something like that, and more like flour and oil or gelifying, solidifying agent, which makes the product more commercial, but probably less interesting from a nutrition point of view. On the other side, there are many producers. Some of them I follow on their social platform, that are reaching the big distribution. So it's definitely something that it can't be called the trend anymore, in my opinion. It's something that it's gonna be part of food and nutrition from now onward, because there are very different ways to get the nutrients that we need, and getting it from plants rather than from animal seems to be more sustainable and to a certain extent also healthier than the normal, let's say. Okay, we have a question from Michele, which is vegan. We're saying if we use vegan rennet and card. No, we don't. We don't, because for this kind of cheese making, at least the cashew nut cheese that we make, we don't use rennet. We basically, rennet, you need it when you have milk, because you need rennet to separate the fat part from the liquid. So in our case, we don't have that issue, because when you blend the cashew nut, you have a paste that is not a paste. You have a cream. So you already have a cream, and all of that cream will be inside the cheese. So basically, what we add instead of rennet, we add probiotics. The probiotics are these lactic ferments, compounded different lactic ferments. That basically ignite the fermentation. Igniting the fermentation, what does it mean? They start to eat the sugar inside the paste that we are feeding them, and what's happening is a lactic fermentation that transform the part of the sugar in lactic acid. That's what gives the light acidity flavor to the cheese. This is something that added to the action of salt that we use in this paste, basically makes the cheese stable, in the sense that it doesn't need any preservative anymore. The acidity and the saltiness and the action of the lactobacillus preserve once the cheese is done, it preserves it to be attacked by other microorganisms. So basically, this is very cool because once the cheese is past the 4 weeks of aging, it doesn't go bad anymore. And this is done without the use of any preservative. Of course, I'm talking about the cheese that will be kept in a refrigerator. If you leave it outside, it would be anyway affected by molds for sure. But if you keep it refrigerated, it doesn't go bad. And yeah, this goes back to the fact that fermentation has been used for preserving food since ever, to before, even when we didn't have a refrigerator or other way of preserving food like preservatives. So this was answering to your question, Michele.
Yes, thank you, because I don't know much about the procedure. For me, like making cheese is something like rocket science, so I don't know much. And yeah, but it's interesting. I understand the process. So, thank you.
Prego.
There is also another question from Dario.
Yeah,
asking. Now you can reply. It's basically said, do you have mozzarella style? Does it stretch nicely?
Well, what a mozzarella style? I'm actually I was doing some experiment today. Because by next week, I think we're gonna have mozzarella kind of cheese ready. I don't know, again, if to call it mozzarella or something, because it's gonna be a product that is definitely very different than a mozzarella or than a buffalo mozzarella or something like that. But I'm working on this product that will be having, let's say, the same properties when you use it for cooking as a mozzarella. So let's say pizza, for example, a cheese that you can put on pizza resemble mozzarella, have something like the same flavor. This is a product that I'm developing, of course, again, starting from Miyoko Schiner footstep, because as I was saying before, she's definitely one of the pioneers of this food trend. It's stretch, but to a certain extent. It's not like a stretch like those mozzarella that you see, like the people take pizza slices and go up to half a meter with all the stretching. But it's actually nice product that can definitely make it to be used for pizza or for parmigiana or for other kind of preparation in this way. To be eaten alone by itself, I would definitely prefer a cashew cheese. And we have another question from Julia that she's asking about probiotics. Probiotics, okay. Probiotics, no. You have to, normally I buy online, or sometimes I have somebody that carry for me, or sometimes I also grow my own. Let's say that you can reproduce the probiotics once you start to grow, and it's a little bit of a process that takes some time, but you can, like something like that reminds a little bit how to make sourdough for bread. But probiotics itself is not strictly necessary. For example, water from sauerkraut, or another product that can be used from scratch. It's called can be made from scratch. It's called a Rejuvelac, which is a water rich of enzyme and lactobacillus, made from sprouting some seeds. So there are different ways to have a starter available to ignite the fermentation. And the start, it can be also sometimes not necessary. The important thing is that you put your cheese in the condition that the right microorganism will grow. We have a question that say about the nut cheese compared to tofu. Well, no, it's completely different product. The fact is that it might look similar because now I make it in this shape, but it's a completely different product than tofu. It has a different flavor, different texture, different everything. Also nutrition-wise, very different. Cashew nut cheese has far less protein than tofu. The texture is much lighter and much creamier. So also the flavor is completely different. I wouldn't see any comparison with tofu.
Oh, that's good, Edoardo, and very interesting. One more question I have is about the price, because it looks like when you talk about organic food or something that is, let's say, without preservatives, so it's more natural. Let's call it, it's more natural. Look like it's way more expensive. Do you think this is just a trend for the moment, or will be something standard in terms of prices?
Okay. For example, depends. It really depends on the process or on the product. I have to say that for those commercial products that you find on the supermarket shelf, my opinion, but some of those are a little bit overpriced, because if you look at the ingredients that they use, it's not really expensive stuff. So maybe they don't make a huge production like other products that are mass produced with preservatives and stuff like that. So maybe a smaller production justify a little bit of a higher price compared to other mainstream products, but only to a certain extent. Depends. Other products instead, like our cashew nut cheese, it's pricey. But it's pricey. I mean, the price is justified by the ingredient. If you consider that standard price of cashew nut, it's quite high. The one that we use is 400-500 baht per kilo. It goes between 400 to 500 baht per kilo.
Can you make cheese from every kind of dry fruit, like pistachio? I saw that you do cashew nut, almonds, or is better to stick to only certain type of product?
No. It's basically most kind of nuts are suitable for cheese making. I prefer cashew just because I like the way that cashew behave during the making. But you can use almond. Almond is very popular. It has a little bit of a different texture. Almond never gets that silky and creamy as cashew. It's always a little bit more grainy. Or you can use macadamia, but also macadamia is the final product is similar to almond, so not as refined, and the little macadamia tends to get a little bit sour. Sunflower seed, for example, used in a small percentage, helps the cheese to be more thick and to have a more harder texture. Pistachio does well. Very nice flavor. Pumpkin seed also, they go very well. When I use these other nuts, though, I always use it mixed with cashew nut, because cashew nut for me is the base. It's what gives the right texture and right flavor. But you can use most kind of nuts.
Asking if do you need to register the nut cheese under FDA, or because it's like your production?
No. For this, it's there is a limit to the production. So if you, for example, for our production here, it's under a certain limit, and definitely we don't do export. So it's okay to as far as you are safe with your restaurant and with your kitchen. So the inspector come and they check, and if you are on par with those requirements, you can produce. But of course, depends on how large scale you want to produce. If you want to, let's say in the future I want to export, I want to give it to some supermarket or some chain of distribution, they will require this kind of certification. So yes, it will have to be.
It's clear. One more question from Michele.
Yes, basically two questions. Maybe I missed it before. Let's say from the raw material to the final product, how many weeks do you need to wait?
For a cheese made like our fermented cashew cheese, we're talking about 3 to 4 weeks. It could be a little bit less if you make smaller pieces, but there are other ways to make this kind of product that instead it can be ready in 2 or 3 days, non-fermented in that case. So,
okay. And the weather in Thailand can act in a positive way or in a negative way, like the fermentation of the.
Yes, well, when every kind of fermentation is highly affected by the weather, so the humidity, the temperature. It's really important to keep the temperature and the humidity in the exact range that is gonna favor those microorganisms that you want to grow. So basically, microorganisms are highly affected by the temperature and humidity. So that's a very important way to control and to avoid to have other microorganisms, for example, mold. When making this kind of cheese, the fermented one, the most common problem that people go through is dealing with molds, because you have for a short time, but you have to expose this cheese to a temperature that favor the growth of mold. So it's always very important to find the right balance. But yes, definitely here it's very recommended to do everything in control of temperature, not much of a wide fermentation outdoor or room temperature, because it's very difficult to control.
That's clear. We have also another question from Thomas Luscher asking if you have experience in making mozzarella without renne.
Yes, yeah. Yes, we don't have at this moment the product for sale, but I'm experimenting some stuff, and we're probably gonna have something available for next week, because we will have to. I want to start to have it available and start to make some pizza or something like that can show the quality of this product.
Okay.
But not, I mean, if you was asking about making vegan mozzarella without rennet, I mean, regular mozzarella, I'm not an expert. I don't even know I don't know.
Okay. One more question from Aladdin asking how long they can last.
As I was saying before, basically once the cheese is done, if you keep it in the refrigerator, it doesn't go bad. It just gets drier. It gets drier and drier to the point that you lose the creaminess and the texture. I have some of our cheese that I kept vacuum for since the beginning, so it's probably 3 years that I vacuum in the refrigerator, and they don't have any problem. Actually, the flavor changed a lot, and it became even more similar for some strange reason to regular cheese. They start to develop more complex flavor compounds, and very, very interesting. We don't produce that for now, because it takes a lot of a different organization to also to have the chance to store this product for months or for years in a refrigerated area. So, but it's definitely interesting, and it doesn't really go bad. But I would normally recommend to eat it in about a couple of weeks to get the best out of it.
Okay, that's good. And thank you for replying this question. Sorry. However, the previous question generate two more, and that are from Ploy asking if different type of cheese need a different type of temperature or not, and also from Dario, more or less with the same question, asking if they can be kept in the freezer or will be affected by the low temperature.
Okay, dunque, for the different cheese need different time of temperature. Not depends. Depends because it's fermentation. It's something that, for my experience here, is more affected by the temperature and by the humidity. So I would say probably not really. When you make, I mean, you want to grow certain microorganism, they would grow at that temperature and at that humidity. If you put it on cashew nut or almond, it probably won't affect much. It will probably but to a very small extent. And regarding Dario's question, yes, it keeps very well in the freezer. It tends to sweat a little bit, but the cool things about this product, the one that I showed you a moment ago, is that it's alive. The ferment inside are still alive. So you put it in the freezer, basically you freeze everything. When you bring it back outside, you leave it, or if you leave, you can eat it right away, of course, as soon as it's not hard anymore. But if you leave it for 1 day in the refrigerator, it will basically go back to almost normal, because it's the same texture as before. Because even if in the refrigerator there is not much microorganism activity, but still they come back to life, and they're still in there. So they kind of bring back the same texture and the same consistency.
Okay, that's cool. Michele has another question. You wrote it here, but maybe Michele want to ask it.
Yes, because Edoardo, you were saying that some of the ingredients, like pistachio or cashew nut, are expensive. So I was thinking, do you market your product as a luxury product, or you can actually manage different range of price for different type of clients?
Okay, so this is a good question, and goes back a little bit of what I was saying before, the different kind of cheese. The one that I'm making now here is the one that we started to make, and it was like with the idea of creating a very healthy product with the best ingredient that I could use. So that's why our cashew nut cheese, the pure cashew nut cheese, it's considered definitely a niche product. That said, there are many other different kind of way to make this product more commercial, either with pasteurizing or with mixing some other ingredient in there, from coconut oil or rice flour, or different kind of ingredient that can kind of still keeping the same or a similar flavor and texture characteristic, allowing you to have a product that is a little bit more commercial and with that can come out with a more attractive price. But again, for this kind of stuff, depends. You are very much bonded with the price of the raw ingredient. Cashew nut, for example, is very pricey. Pistachio is very pricey as well. I guess I never tried. I tried once to make pine nut cheese. That would be like probably the most expensive nut cheese ever made, because pine nut, for example, here in Thailand, it goes for at least 2,000 baht per kilo. So, and it's from China. If you get some pine nuts from Italy, also in Italy, they are very pricey anyway. So, but yeah, it would be probably a super luxury item in that case.
Okay, that's very interesting, Edoardo. Thank you for answering. I have maybe a few more questions before concluding this webinar, and your connection may be still a bit unstable. Edoardo, can you hear us?
Sorry.
Okay. Yes, my question is maybe now switching from nut cheese to the other production that you have. I'm talking about the vegan and best patties. How do you see the entry of other competitors like Beyond Meat and the others? in terms of price and quality?
Okay, dunque, Beyond Meat, it's now widely available here, and it's definitely interesting product, but it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of a little bit of a restyling of an older product that was already in the market, which is textured soy protein. And that said, for the ingredient that they use, which is textured soy protein, which is very cheap, the final price, the market price of those kind of products seems to be I don't know, a little bit. I wouldn't say high, but not really justifiable. Now that there are many different producers, but the other one there was also, they made a lot of noise in the news, was the Impossible Burger. I actually tried the Impossible Burger in Singapore. I was impressed. It was really good. Impossible Burger, it's very different than Beyond Meat, I would say. The Impossible, it's really a new thing. It's somebody, this guy that came out with this idea of developing something that really tastes like meat, and eventually does, using a completely new technique and a completely new approach. What Beyond Meat, it's something a little bit more, as I said before, my opinion, but it's a bit of a restyling of an older product that was already on the market, which is a textured soy protein. Our burger patty, it's different. It's made with mostly just plants and not many refined ingredients. It's definitely something that doesn't need a laboratory or like something too complicated to make, but in its own way, it's very original because it's made it's inspired by a Chinese recipe, and people really like it. It's been well received by our customers, from people that travel also worldwide. That what I try to do with this patty is not to make something that tastes like meat, like beef or chicken or something, but more like something that when you put it in the burger would give you completely the same feeling that you have when you eat a regular meat burger. But it doesn't really taste like meat or something. It's just a tasty vegan patty.
Yeah, Colin, your fan is approving. One more.
Thank you, Colin.
From Michele, asking if you're selling in supermarket or Horeca channels, and also about the supermarket.
I can say very quickly. Edoardo, your favorite channel of distribution, for example, for you is better, or maybe you sell already in a supermarket, or you sell to, or used to sell to restaurants mainly, or if let's say right now with the COVID-19 situation, you sell directly to the consumer. So for your experience, it's better to sell in a supermarket, in a restaurant, or a direct sale to your consumer like B2C?
Okay, for Barefood, for now, it's still, I would say, a showcase of this product. So we make it here, we produce it, and even if it's we are small, but we have a whole line of products, from burgers, from the sauce that we make, a vegan mayo. We make a lot of all the complementary things that basically makes kind of small line, complete line of vegan product or plant-based product. We don't sell yet through supermarket, but our products are well liked by other chefs and professionals. We sell it. We used to, not right now, of course, but we sell to some major hotel chain that, for most of all, for the cheese and the vegan patty, because the cheese is very well liked. They were looking for some particular vegan cheese that would not something that it's good because, oh yeah, it's good, but it's vegan, because it's good, just something that they want to offer to their customer. And also for the vegan patty. I am in talking with some food producer, and we are still looking to see if there are opportunities to produce on a larger scale, and then in that case, we will also consider supermarket, and retail store. But for now, we don't have that production capacity. So we do mostly, in this moment, of course, we do mostly retail. But this place, it's more, as far as I thought it to be a showcase of product, and finding later different development for the product.
That's very interesting, Edoardo. So let me recap a bit also the product that you are producing. You have nut cheese, base plant patties, and what else? I was thinking, what happened to the waste of, I don't know, maybe of the process nut cheese? The water, or I don't know how do you call it technically, but what happened to this? Can be used as a fertilizer, or do you?
For example, for the whey, the water that come out from the nut cheese during production is called whey, and now we use it to make our ricotta. So we have another product, the cashew ricotta, and we use the whey to make it. We don't sell it much because the yield is very low. When I make a whole batch of cheese, the ricotta that come out is very little. But basically, after I make the ricotta, I just throw away a couple of cups of water. That's the only waste. Other product that we have, we make a mayonnaise. We make a mayonnaise out of koji rice. Koji rice, it's a rice that we culture with the mold, Aspergillus oryzae, which is normally used for make sake. One of the most, Japanese used to culture rice for make sake with that. So anyway, wastage. Our concept is very small. Everything, it's kind of a full circle. So we try to limit the waste in all the way. For example, I use mok choy. I use mostly the roots, the white part, and with the green part we make the lasagna. So you always try to. We have the luxury of having a very small menu based on our product, so we try to control the waste in that way.
Okay, I think that you reply very nice way to my question. I don't know if there are other people willing to ask anything else. I see also Dario, he has the webcam open, but also many others.
Dario, before he was asking, then I didn't have the time to reply about the ice cream, because if I'm correct, he produced ice cream. For now, no, we don't produce any kind of ice cream. I don't make much sweet. I have just one cheesecake here, which is based on our vegan cheese. We sell some vegan ice cream from other producers here in Thailand, and I have to say that at least the one that I tried are really solid product. Different brand, some more refined, a little bit more, how do you say, more not mainstream, but more industrial, if you can say, and more other which are a little bit more natural, more rustic. But they are definitely very interesting way to make vegan ice cream, and with very good results and good quality.
Okay, that's good.
Grazie, Dario. I'm looking forward to try your vegan cheese then.
Why? Dario is selling vegan ice creams, or talking about non-vegan ice cream?
Can I talk?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I was muted. So yes, we very. It's like I'll say less than 5% of our production, but yes, we are selling it. At the moment, of course, like everyone else, not selling anything. But we have a kind of it's growing, because it's already difficult for us to let understand to let understand the Thais what is the real artisan gelato. So we are still working on that part. But because it's even a fashionable thing, so the vegan one is growing. Very small numbers, but definitely. And we don't use, of course, cow milk. We use rice milk because we found out basically that it's quite neutral. The almond is nice. Of course, I don't like to use the soya milk because it gives a really, it's not nice, at least in the ice cream, in the gelato, let's say. But the rice milk, it's neutral, so you can work on many different flavors because of that. Almond is too almondy, so you cannot manage more than 3-4 flavors in our experience.
I have a question about rice milk because honestly I never used it, but I was curious because I saw some recipe that called for it. But do you make? Can you make rice milk? I mean,
no, we don't.
Industrial product.
Yes, it is. We don't produce milk. We just buy the Tetra Pak and we use it right away.
Okay.
We try to use the unsweetened one, so just to keep the sugars lower. But of course, and then we have to add all the other ingredients to make it, to make it become a gelato.
And does it behave?
Say again?
I would say, does it behave very similar to regular milk in the production?
Yeah. Yes, if you had everything that you have to have. Yes, we balance all the sugars and stuff. Dextrose, sucrose, and glucose, and so on.
Okay.
But it's a nice product.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Maybe we can have the last 2 questions, and then we can conclude this webinar. I don't know, someone else willing to ask? We have also Fiorentino. Fiorentino is also the manager of a restaurant which is called Melting Clock. I don't know. Anyone else would like to add a thought or a question? Yeah, you can even raise the hands from the chat. As Michele was mentioning in the group chat.
So of course, you can say I will contact you in private if you want, but I request your catalog or whatever you have available.
Yeah. Let's keep in touch, and I'd like to see also what you guys sell. So.
Yeah, but, because right now we have these pizza places, and we want to introduce. We have been asked from the customer to introduce a vegan pizza. We do have it, but basically it's just the pizza base with tomato and vegetables on it. So we want to have the real.
You need to have a mozzarella on top, otherwise, if a lot of people just, when they eat pizza, they want to see it like that way.
I'm just curious to see how it will behave on pizza. I mean, how much water will release by the time and then it's in the oven. I'm scared about that, but I'm not scared, but concerned. So, but we can try.
Okay.
Let's say.
Okay.
Yeah,
we keep in touch, and I'll send you some samples.
Oh, sorry for.
Thank you.
No, prego, go ahead.
No, I was also curious about the vegan mozzarella because will it melt on top of the pizza, or the mozzarella will maintain the same characteristic of the.
Yes, I was saying before there are different methods to make it, and there is somebody in Thailand that's making and experimenting something in that sense. I tried some that were really good actually. I'm not sure if it's they still make it or it's still a consistent production or not, but it stretch and it behave like a mozzarella. But at least for what I understood, if you don't want to make it too much with using too much how do you say, powders or different oils or flour, so without too many refined ingredients, you won't get the mozzarella that stretch like really long. But it's a mozzarella that when you put it on the pizza, it melts and it has a very nice flavor, goes very well with the tomato, and it's stretched to a little extent actually. So depends what the aim. For us at Barefood, we still try to compromise the less with the nutrients of the food that we make. We still try to a certain point to make food that first of all it adds something to our nutrition, and then of course we try to meet the flavor requirement, the texture requirement, and everything, but without losing the focus, which is the concept of Barefood, which is to make food that it's good for us and for our nutrition. So we don't really go too far in the sense of having a product that performs well, that has a perfect flavor and texture, but doesn't have nothing to our nutrition, or maybe also contains something that is not good for us.
Okay, that's good. Maybe to conclude, the last question from Mr. MJ, he wrote for you in the group chat. He's saying, what would you say are the next major food trends coming up? Plant-based protein, vegan, insect superfood.
I definitely wish I had the answer to this question, because I would definitely invest in something right away. But considering, I don't know, for the little that I'm following, and for what I can say, I would definitely think that animal food, it might, just my opinion, please take it with a grain of salt, but it might become eventually in the future something that only a small part of the population will be able to afford, because already in the last few years the production of animal-based food, it's showing a lot of issues in the whole chain of production, from mass production of pigs, or the total unsustainability of mass beef cattle farming. So it might become, we might get to a point where probably proteins will not be sourced from animals in large scale as it is now, and we're probably going to switch to different sources for this kind of nutrients. Not sure if it's going to be good or bad. I'm not sure if this product will be eventually healthy or not, because and not sure even if it's going to be sustainable or not, because it is something that we will have to see. But yeah, if the food world population keeps growing, there will definitely be changes in the food. And insects, for example, they are much more sustainable from a certain point of view. As if you look at the nutrients, producing protein with insect is more sustainable than producing protein with beef or with pork. That's for sure. And so yeah, definitely insect will play a big role in the food chain in the future, at least for my opinion. And this sure, because it's more sustainable. You can produce more with lower cost and less effect on the environment. So
okay. The last question, and then we close. From the last question is from Dario. Are you able to give the macronutrients about your product?
Very roughly 100 gram of our cheese. It's around 240 kilocalories, which is the good thing is that it carries zero cholesterol. It has a fair amount of fats, mostly unsaturated, few saturated fats, and protein. It's don't remember exactly. I should have my data here, but it has a fair amount of protein, but definitely not as much as soy. That's for sure. Carbohydrates, no, I don't remember exactly, but It's definitely mostly carbohydrates and fats, with a little bit lower amount of protein, and yeah, zero cholesterol, and kind of a balance between unsaturated and saturated fats.
Okay. Thank you very much, Edoardo. So before leaving to Michele the farewell speech, I would like to briefly recap which are the upcoming Thailand's food innovation episodes. So we have next Thursday, in this case, because the 1st of May is holiday, episode 3 with Thai Cacao, The Revolution, and the speaker will be Mr. Narat from Shabar. Then we have the week after with Rosalind, that she's here today with us for the episode 4, talking about restoring our harmony with nature through food stories and experience. She's also a contributor for Bangkok 101. After that, May 15, we will have as a host and speaker Miss Ploy Chachanok from Tonkasawa, presenting clean tech innovation from agri-waste to wellness and wealth. This is a very interesting topic because we are talking about the wastage of cassava product. And it's my pleasure to present you today. We just have the confirmation with Miss Pita Bassett. She's a writer. For the episode 6, talking about slow food in the city, raising chickens, and pre-crisis gardening in downtown Bangkok. Okay, I think, Michele, would you like to?
Yes, so let's say, Giacomo, thank you a lot for wrap it up and introduce the other webinars. Thank you a lot, Edoardo, for sharing your knowledge. It's very, very interesting to listen to you and what you created. I believe that you are one of the few entrepreneurs starting this business, but it's a pleasure to have you with us today. And we will edit the video and we will make it available on the TICC YouTube channel within 24 hours. And thank you everyone for attending and the interesting question from everyone. And of course, Edoardo, if you want to add something, I believe that either way you want to share the contacts of Barefood, so everyone can find you, can order some food from you directly. Please do it, or we will send also an email to every participant to share it. Okay. So thank you everyone, and Edoardo, you want to add anything else?
No, just thank you, Michele, thank you, Giacomo, for inviting me, and I'm very excited I'm very proud of being part of this, and yes, I will definitely put the link to Barefood in the chat now. And we are open now, so we do delivery and takeaway through directly with us or through the major food delivery partners. So please come by or try our products.
Okay.
Very well. Okay, thank you everyone, and keep updated with us.